السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Babu fin Nasiha. We continue our book Riyad-us-Saliheen by Imam Nawawi rahmatullah alayh. We are on the 22nd chapter of the book, and the chapter is with regards to counsel and advice for one another. This is the third and the final hadith of the chapter, and the hadith is one Anas radiyallahu anhu and the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam قال لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Rawahu Al-Bukhari wa Muslim. The hadith is reported by Anas radiyallahu anhu, who mentions and reports that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, no one of you or none of you can become a true believer or Muslim until they do not like or love for their brothers what they like for their own selves. As we know that we have heard this hadith multiple times and many times, Imam Abu Dawud rahmatullah alayhi, who is a great authority in hadith, he has compiled an entire book known as Sunan Abi Dawud with thousands of books. Imam Abu Dawud rahmatullah alayhi, in the commentary of his kitab, writes that I went through 400,000 ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And hadith itself differentiates or differs not just by the context or the words of hadith, but even through the chain of narration of a hadith. Just to little explain that, the first hadith in Al-Bukhari is the famous hadith that is known to many of us. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Actions are dependent upon its intention. That hadith has been reported in Sahih Al-Bukhari in multiple places through different narrations. A said, B said, C said, D. B said, A said, D says. So switching the narrators. So when you switch the narrators, it becomes a complete different hadith in the eyes of the muhaddithin or the people of hadith themselves. So that's why Imam Abu Dawud said, I went through 400,000 ahadith, meaning narrations of people can also change the hadith itself, even though the words may be very, very similar. Then Abu Dawud rahmatullah alayhi said, after going through 400,000 hadith, I gathered them and extracted them into 4 ahadith. And anyone who learns these 4 and practices upon them, it is as though that they have practiced upon 400,000 ahadith, Imam Abu Dawud said. And then he said, amongst the 4, one of them is this hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? Just to quickly go over the rest 3, not the details of it, but because we want to talk about this hadith. One of the other hadiths is, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِنِيَّاتِ. Actions dependent upon niyat itself, number 1. Another hadith is, Al-halalu bayyin wal-haramu bayyin. Halal is made clear, haram has been made clear, and whatever between it is doubtful. Another hadith is, min husn al-Islam al-mar'i. From amongst the excellence of a Muslim is to avoid things that don't concern you. Avoid layani. Things that are not relevant to you, don't get involved in them. That's the excellence of your iman. And the 4th hadith is this hadith, that none of you can become true believers till you do not love for others what you love for yourself. And brothers and sisters, this should not only be words. May Allah make this a reality for me first and foremost, and all of us. That many a times this is just words, but this has to become a reality. That what I love for myself, what I like for myself in a sense of dealings, relationship, connections, anything that I myself as an individual hope for and sort of demand from others, is much more than what I should be providing others. I should be giving others much more than that as well. And that shows the excellence of our iman. And inshallah, if all of us work towards this, it will truly become an amazing society. The ummah is created through true manners and akhlaq. And that's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned, amongst the essential, the purpose of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it is mentioned that it has been that he can perfect the character. إِنَّمَا بُئِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. From amongst the purpose of the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's effort was to perfect the character of people. And amongst the quality that we can all take back, inshallah, is let's start treating everyone the way that I would like to be treated, right? And love for others what we love for ourselves. The khazain of Allah are endless. The treasures of Allah are ultimate. Inshallah, if Allah gives you, Allah can give someone else and nothing will empty, right? We should never become scared if someone else has good what Allah has given us, because the treasures of Allah will never finish. And inshallah, Allah will give us according to our niyat. When our intention is good, then Allah will increase for us and will also provide for us. So inshallah, the message for us for tonight is, all of us care and love for others what we love for ourselves, inshallah. And we all work towards this. Ask Allah for ikhlas and sincerity, and may Allah give us the akhlaq and manners of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, subhanakallah wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu.